For you. All right, good evening. My name is Stan Shahansky. Don't worry about the last name. The call is November 2 Sierra Tango Charlie, N2STC. If you guys think I'm shouting too loud, let me know, but a couple guys couldn't hear me tonight when I was talking in a normal voice, so I decided I guess I'm gonna have to shout. I did give them a little aside that you can buy hearing aids on eBay for $100. So I have the local Echolink node on the 147.24 repeater, okay? And what I have found with the questions that I've been asked, people tend to overcomplicate Echolink. So I have put together this presentation to try to give you guys a little bit of understanding of what Echolink actually is, how to use it. I'm hoping that after the presentation here, you will be able to use Echolink. We've got it on several area repeaters. It's a great tool, it's a lot of fun, and relatively easy to use. So as I said, you know, people tend to overcomplicate. That's what happens. When something is a mystery, you don't know about it, very confusing to you. So again, the name of my presentation is Taking the Mystery Out of Echolink. We'll explain what it is, what it does, how to use it, etc. So here is a diagram that I borrowed off of the Echolink website. You can go to echolink.org and see a version of this diagram here. First of all, let's just ignore one half of the diagram, okay? Let's just talk about this part of the diagram. So here is something that I have at my house. Think of Echolink as another station on a repeater. That's all it is. It's just another station talking to a repeater. So here's the repeater, okay? A little repeater controller, car driving around that can talk on the repeater. An FM transceiver, like the radio that you guys all use. This radio is tuned to the repeater frequencies. Again, this radio is tuned to the repeater frequencies just like your radio is that you would use. There is an interface between this radio and the computer. Now I have set all this up. You guys don't have to worry about this. I've done this work for you, okay? The radio is tied to a computer. This computer sits in my basement, okay? It's on most of the day. This computer is running special software, Echolink software, that allows it to communicate through the internet to another computer anywhere else in the world that does the same thing. Any questions on that so far? Relatively simple, right? Again, this is just another station that can talk to this repeater. Over here on the other side of the world, you got the same thing. Some kind of an interface, you know, through the internet. Somebody links up to this computer. Now the two computers are linked up together. They're talking to each other. This computer could be either interfaced to a radio or directly to the repeater. Either one. Any questions on that so far? Ed?
Software,
Yes.
does it have any additional hardware, or is it just a,
You guys don't need any software to use it in this mode. You are in your little car here, driving around New Hartford, talking to the 147.24 repeater. That's all we're talking about at this point, okay?
you'll explain
No
that
software
later?
involved. I'll explain how you access it in a minute. No software involved, no computer for you, nothing. You're just using your radio in your car, talking to the repeater, which is talking to this radio. It's just like another ham. So spending a few minutes on this slide because I want you to understand just how simple this really is.
So basically, that's attached to the 2.4 repeater.
Yes, this transceiver here is tuned to the 2.4 repeater. That's the way I accomplish the link to the 2.4 repeater.
The 2.4 machine require zone?
Yes, it does, and I think it's 71.9, but I'm not 100% sure of that. You guys can look it up. By the way, a great resource, and I don't know if you all know about it, is www.upstateham.com. All the information's there.
Tim talks about that a great deal.
He certainly does. Okay, are we going to advance? Okay. Here's another linking example. Another way the two stations can talk to each other on Echolink. You can load the Echolink software on your computer, okay? This is another thing, you don't have to do this, but you can load the Echolink software on your computer, and then through the internet, somebody else on another computer somewhere else has the Echolink software loaded. And you can talk to each other from computer to computer. Echolink is the only voice over IP software, ham software, that allows you to actually use a computer to get on. Now, if we divide this diagram in half and we went back to the other diagram, somebody that's configured this way can talk to a repeater, you know, on the other side, okay? I wanna go see, can we go back? I think I may have skipped something. Okay, this is what I just talked about. So you can have the software on your PC talking to an Echolink repeater anywhere in the world.
What
Again.
frequencies are they operating on?
They cannot be operating on any amateur licensed frequency. This station over here can be on a UHF repeater, a VHF repeater. You can do it on HF. People don't usually do that. It's not really conducive because FM is so much better. Any questions on that?
Is the Echolink software available,
Echolink.org, it's free.
and do you buy it, or is it free?
No, it's free. You download it for free, yep. Did I mention that it's free? It's free.
How much?
Free. I just sold it to you.
Fantastic, por favor.
Did I mention it's free? Okay, that's the slide we already talked about. Now, you might say, okay, well, who the heck can I talk to on Echolink? You can say that, Ed.
Who can I talk to?
Good question. Glad you asked. If you go on the Echolink website and go to current logins, it will show you all of the nodes all over the world that are on and connected to the Echolink system that are available to you to talk to. This is a page from the actual site. So I went to current logins on the Echolink website. It's echolink.org. By the way, this presentation is on, if you go to my QRZ page, N2STC. N2STC stands for Need to Stop the Communists, Need to Save the Children, Need to whatever. N2STC, November 2 Sierra Tango Charlie. This presentation is there, if you guys want to go review that.
That looks a little old.
It could be, but remember, this gets updated. Yeah, it's old. Yep.
2005?
Where do you see that? Oh, yeah, as of, yep.
So this has been around for a while.
That shows you Echolink has been around for a while. I've had a node for 10 years. Go ahead.
I used to run it about 11, 12 years ago. If you run on your laptop, you see all those nodes.
That's right, that's right. If you download the software, like that previous
You gotta keep moving.
example, oh, is that what it is?
Wave your arms.
No, it's somebody in the back.
Nice.
Well, we don't need the lights. Anyway, all right, where was I going? Somebody asked a question. Is it old? Okay,
Your laptop is,
oh, the laptop software, right. If you go and you do this, you'll see a list of those nodes.
why does it differentiate the laptop?
We're gonna get to that. That's a good question. You guys are good. You play right into my hands here. So,
That's what we're supposed.
that's right, and I'm not even paying you. That's good. All right, so, we talked about nodes, we talked about different types of nodes, whether somebody's got a link system like I have, or somebody's just on their computer. Okay, so there are different types of nodes. When you look on that list, you'll see nodes listed. The dash after the call sign for a node indicates what type of node it is. I'm listed as N2STC-R, and that is because I am tuned to a repeater. I'm connected to a repeater, so when somebody goes to connect to me, they see that -R, they know they're connecting to a repeater somewhere in the world.
Stan, does it tell where they're located?
That depends on the description the person who set up the node puts in. My description says, and it's just a little short blurb, my description says Utica, Rome, Mohawk Valley. Okay, just try to give people, you can tell by, the country prefix. In the United States, of course, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. You can't always, unfortunately, tell from the link in the description. That's kind of a shortcoming of the system. -L, that's simply a link. That could be somebody who has a radio connected to their computer but not tuned to a repeater. So he's got a standalone repeater, or I'm sorry, standalone transceiver at his house or wherever. Some universities do that. Have a good tower on the roof. So that's what the -L stands for.
Wait a minute, how do you use that?
When you look in the list and you decide who you want to connect to, you might use that as criteria to decide what you want to connect to.
So if you connect to ZL1VK-L,
Yes, it's a link.
it's a link, so, meaning what?
Meaning that it's probably a standalone radio.
Okay.
It's not tuned to a repeater.
Oh, so it would be
Or-
Simplex?
Yes, simplex.
Okay.
But you don't really care because you're on this end of it and you're doing your thing. You don't really care how somebody accesses it on the other side. It just might give you an indicator of how many people will be on there. No suffix means probably somebody sitting there on their computer. Doing that linking example I showed you earlier. Commands, okay. So if I go to access, if I'm sitting here with my little handheld, and I go and get on the 147.24 over in Kirkland over there, you might say, okay, how do I actually make a connection? You want to say that?
How do I make a connection?
Good question.
I'm good.
He is good.
Good prompts there.
I don't.
$1 for every good
The
question.
biggest and most important, yes, sir.
You don't live in Kirkland, do you?
No.
Okay, how do you connect to the Kirkland repeater?
I can back up on the slides and show you.
No, is it through the internet or?
No. It's that first example that I showed you there where I have a transceiver sitting at my house that's tuned to the repeater
You're
frequencies.
connected wirelessly?
Right.
Okay,
I'm another station that talks to that repeater.
okay.
That's all.
Okay.
It just, and at the end, if you want, we'll go back to that slide and I
No, I-
can just kind
I
of clear that up
understand.
for you.
What'd you ask the question for? You understand.
No, you said it, I just wondered if he was wired into something.
So the most important command for you to remember is the pound sign, okay? Because once you've made a connection, you want to drop that connection with a pound sign. But what you do when you go to that list I showed you earlier is you look up somebody's node number. Using the touch-tone keypad on your microphone, on the 147.24 repeater, if you know the node number that you want to connect to, you simply punch that node number in. When the system recognizes that node number, it will say connecting to the call sign, and then when it connects, it'll say connected. Then you just talk. That's it.
Can more than one?
Person connect to the
persons
same
connect?
node?
Yes.
That depends on how the operator has set up his node, but generally, yes.
So if I connect to that node, and Warren's also on the radio, he can use it at the same time I can use it?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, you can have several people using the repeater on this end. You know, the repeater doesn't know the difference. My radio at my house doesn't know the difference. You guys just take turns talking on the repeater on this end, and it all goes over the internet, and the same thing can be happening on the other end. So this is my node number, by the way. So if somebody on a repeater somewhere in the world entered 227963, it would say connecting to N2STC. There'd be a brief pause, and then it would say connected. Now the protocol is, well, let's go on with some other commands. If you want to see who is connected, 08 will tell you who's connected currently, if anyone's connected. Usually it'll say not connected, because there probably isn't anyone connected.
That's another radio on the other side,
Yes,
or another computer on the other side.
yes. If my node, which is listening to the 2.4 repeater, is connected somewhere else in the world, and you hit a 08, it will say W2QYT connected. So you'll know when you go to get on the repeater that you're talking to some station somewhere else in the world. Any questions on any of this so far? Ed's had a lot of questions tonight, so we're gonna ask him. No.
No,
Okay, we're good.
I'm good.
All right.
Curious minds, right?
Very questionable.
A 09 will reconnect to the last station that was successfully connected. By the way, all this stuff, go to my webpage, QRZ, it's all there. You don't have to memorize it, you don't have to write it down. I'd suggest you don't take too many notes, because concentrate on what I'm saying, because, you know, I'm charming and dynamic, and that's. Another example of a command, 011 would connect to a random favorite node. You can set up nodes as favorites, that's kind of a little bit of an advanced topic.
Who connects, who
Now, this
sets
is
up
all-
the random?
These entries are all done through the keyboard.
Through the keypad on your radio, yep.
So if you start.
Been wondering why you got all those numbers there, right? So now we know.
So those are your random favorites?
Yes.
Okay.
The reason I ask that is that do these inquiries come up first, or do you bring up a particular node before they come?
Nothing, it doesn't ask you any questions, okay? You are, I mean, you guys have probably been using the 2.4 repeater right along. Ed and I were just talking on it. You never know that there's an Echolink node on there until you hit something.
On the 2.4 machine?
Yeah, I know, he's a traitor, huh? Yeah.
I
He
knew
had
Stan
to.
was gonna be on
He
it.
had to, because he had to talk to me. He had to tell me where we're going. These are just examples of commands. 02 would connect to a random conference.
What's
There are a bunch
conference?
of these. Oh, let me talk about conferences, okay. Some nodes, why don't you, I love the way they save energy here. They're saving our tax dollars. Some nodes are set up as something called conferences. So I might have a standalone computer at my house that allows many, many connections to come to it, okay? That's called a conference. There's one that's the Australia conference, one that's the Ireland conference. So a lot of times people will just connect to those and stay connected, okay, to these conference servers. They're a computer that's running the Echolink software in a special way that allows many, many people to connect and stay connected. Don't have to really worry about that too much.
See, when you load this Echolink software,
Yes,
I assume there's a step-by-step procedure for doing what you want.
yes, and they verify you to make sure you have a call sign, okay? Because if they didn't, anybody could download that software and get on a repeater and not have a call sign. And there is a verification process. It's not really complex, but they do check you out to make sure. And you're not granted access immediately. It's probably gonna take about 24 hours before they verify that you actually have a call sign. So some of those commands that I just mentioned are listed here on the Echolink website and on my QRZ page. Okay, just some of the things that are available to do with just these simple 2 or 3 digit commands.
When you send one of these commands, what do? Just type it in and then hit the send button?
No, there's no send, it's just the keypad on your radio,
Oh,
the DTMF keypad. So, two-digit command will be recognized immediately, there's no enter or anything like that. Now, does anyone have a handheld with them?
Son of a gun!
I knew it!
Oh,
Can you hit the 2-4 repeater from here?
I could from the parking lot.
You could or could not?
I could.
Okay. All right. So Ed's gonna do a demonstration for us. He's gonna show us how Echolink actually works. Why don't you key it up, make sure you can hit it from inside the building.
KC2 GQR, this is KK2B.
No?
No.
You gotta go by the window.
You wanna try that?
Now, if you're mobile,
Where's the
you go out of the
located?
range.
Kirkland.
Where's your repeater located?
Kirkland, this one, 14724.
I got that here.
We're kinda down in the valley here, so.
KC2 GQR, this is KK2B.
Hey.
Now, if you're mobile and you
Yes.
go out of the range of that tower you're hitting, you lose your connection?
No. My node at my house stays connected. Until, I've got a timeout set so that eventually it'll disconnect, but,
But the vehicle will lose its connection.
well, you won't be able to talk to the
Tower.
tower, but when you come back in range, that connection will still be there.
So your connection will time out.
Yeah, eventually, yeah. Connections that are persistent though, don't really cause any harm. Unless there's a lot of traffic on one end or the other. Nope, can't raise them. All right, you are able to hit the machine.
Yes.
Do this, just hit the pound sign. Hold it for maybe a second.
Gotta see it first.
Want me to turn the lights on? Because we don't need to.
Now, you want, do I have to say anything that I'm
No,
accessing
just-
Echolink or?
No, you could, as long as you identify every 10 minutes, you can say you're sending tones or whatever. Just hit the pound sign. Let's see if it hears you. There you go. Yeah, I'm afraid it's too noisy.
And these are metal screens.
Yeah.
Go to the next one, there's no screen.
Um,
No, down the other way.
oh yeah, look at that.
Go to the rescue window.
The problem with that, it's a Japanese radio.
That's right.
No, it's Chinese.
Well, what?
It's even worse. Yes, sir.
KK2B.
Hong Kong special. Your name?
Stan.
Repeater is?
You want to know the call sign on the repeater?
Yeah, then go the other way.
Yours.
It's not my repeater. It's under Daryl's call sign, Daryl Curtis.
It's not
He's-
house.
It's not in my house. I'll go back to that slide, because that slide that I said I was gonna spend some time on, looks like we need to spend a little more time on it. There's a radio at my house that's tuned to the repeater frequency. I don't own the repeater. I do have permission, though, to have Echolink on that repeater. I guess the demo's over, huh?
Well, I could go take the, mag mount off.
That's all right. I've got another way to demonstrate this. I'll demonstrate it afterward.
Okay.
I'm gonna call
When I ran Echolink many years ago, I was under the impression that the control operator had to be there at all times
No,
on a
No,
repeater.
just try
No.
down the other end of the
no.
panel. See if things better down.
No, if that were true, there would be so few nodes on there. No, that's not a problem. I do have a way to access it remotely so that I could shut it down if I need to. I can access it over the internet, so that's not a big deal. And I got another way to demonstrate this, don't worry about it. We'll demonstrate it with the iPhone. Be another aspect of it.
Now, will we be able to hear it?
Yes, if my iPhone's, no, most of them
But
won't.
not on the radio.
There's a
Confused.
You'll be able to hear it on the radio.
There's a smartphone app for it.
Smartphone app for Echolink, yes. All right, so
Another app.
again, let's kill these lights so you guys can see it. If the demo had worked, we would tune our radio to the 147.24. We would listen for any activity. Good ham practice. Another good ham practice is to pause between transmissions. Anybody ever do that?
Occasionally.
I think
If there's
so.
a beep on the repeater.
Yeah, maybe even beyond. With Echolink, it's very important to pause a little longer than you normally would. I have to get on there and remind guys, and I'm guilty of it myself. Because if you don't leave a space for somebody to get in there, and the repeater owner or the Echolink guy wants to get in there and send a command, if you guys are just, bouncing back and forth, they can't do it. So we would listen for activity. On the touchtone pad, we would punch the node number. Voice announces W2QIT connected. You then announce your call and listening, or you can call CQ. Here's one of the few places on 2 meters or UHF that you might call CQ. Some Echolink node owners like you to call CQ when you connect to their node. Yes?
That's a 4-digit number. Yours was a 6-digit number.
Right.
What's the range?
4 to 6.
Okay.
4 digits is a vanity. You can pay for it. They assign you a 6-digit usually.
Who's QYT?
Jack in Auburn, 14700. So when somebody answers, just talk normally. Other than you have to pause. Make sure you pause longer when you're on Echolink. What did I say, Ed? What do we want to do?
Listen.
Pause. We want to pause.
When you're on
Uh,
Echolink.
Yes.
Question.
Uh,
When you're making a long hop,
Yep,
like for example, you were saying around the world,
right.
wouldn't you have to wait, a
A
much
longer-
longer time?
No, not much. There's not much delay. And it doesn't seem to matter how long a connection you've made. That's the beauty of the internet.
It's 186,000 miles per second,
Yeah, in a vacuum.
or through copper.
Yes, it's faster than the speed of lightning. When finished, you hit the pound sign to drop it. Remember to pause when you're using it. Did I say pause? I think I said that.
Always.
Okay, here are some comments about Echolink. Again, I did this presentation a long time ago, so there used to be something called dial-up. You guys probably remember it. Dial-up doesn't work too well for Echolink. Some people consider computer to computer not amateur radio. I say, so what? It's different things to different people, I mean, if you don't like it, don't use it. If you access the internet through a router, most do, and you've loaded the software on your computer, you may have to make some adjustments to your router in order to use the Echolink software on your computer. We can talk about that. That's kind of an advanced topic, not really for tonight's discussion. I'm really trying to just give you guys the basic overview. Some folks leave Echolink software running on the computer when they're not around to answer calls. I don't like that. I mean, if there's a node there, it's nice if somebody could possibly hear you on the other end when you're going to connect to them. There's a very slight delay in the audio. When we do our demonstration here in a minute, we're going to, you're gonna hear that slight delay. It's about half a second to a second, depending on internet speed. And that was a good question, but it doesn't seem to matter where in the world. I know it seems like it should, but remember that when you get on the internet, you have no idea where your signal is going, where your packets are going. That's why they call it a web, because when you make a connection, you could be bouncing off a server in Los Angeles that sends you back to LA, that sends you back to Sequoia, just use it as an example. You don't necessarily have a direct connection, I'm just talking internet now, from your computer to the site you're at. It can be bouncing all over on different phone lines and links and all kinds of things.
Yeah, but there's other things just other than the speed of.
Absolutely, it's
through the
only
line.
as good as the
There's
weakest
switches,
link.
There's down nodes,
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely, yeah, there can be some delays. The call sign validation process is not really robust, but I have never really seen any trouble with anybody getting on there that shouldn't be. Mostly hams are gonna be interested, so hams are the ones that are gonna be doing it.
So Stan, would you say this is very similar to The old auto patch that we used to use?
Well, the only way that it's similar, I would say, is that you use touch tone pads to access it. And there's a DTMF, dual tone modulated frequency, there's a DTMF tone decoder, listening to those tones. Other than that, you know, I mean, on the other end, an auto patch connects to a phone line where you're connecting to a computer through the, I guess there are some similarities, but the other one uses the phone, plain old telephone system, voice network.
Are
So
there-
here's, I'm sorry.
Are there any restrictions on the class of license?
You have to be licensed for the frequency you're using to access Echolink. So if, I guess I would say no, because most of the time Echolink is on VHF or UHF, so that's
Right.
technician. So I guess the short answer to that is no. Well, I talked about Echolink.org, and I talked about me on QRZ to get more information. Questions? No questions?
Is that repeater coming up?
Yeah.
That was-
Okay, I am recording this. I'm going to publish this on the web so you guys can, watch it eventually. So I'm gonna stop recording at this point.
Your QST site?
Stan.